Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Hey, Manasa, can you tell me what is denial of service attack and what are the mitigation techniques for denial of service attack? CH Manasa. Am I audible, students?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Manasa, are you there? Okay. Prasanna? Prasanna P.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
So, denial of service is where an attacker sends many requests and floods or overloads the system, sir. So it kind of prevents the system from serving legitimate requests.
Okay. Okay. How do you prevent it?
Uh, yes, sir. How to prevent it, sir?
Yeah.
Maybe we can use a firewall or anything which could filter out the requests. So suppose the attacker would be sending many requests simultaneously. So if we have a method by which we could filter out the request, maybe using firewalls or routers or switches or some kind of filtering, then we could prevent it, sir.
Can I answer that,
Sir,
sir?
Yeah. Tell me. If you have other answers, you can tell me. No problem.
I think three other options are there. Like one is how Durga Prasanna said, in dealing with the security, and the other is installing some apps will also do. And then third one is particularly there are some ways to protect our systems against DDoS specifically, sir. I forgot like what exactly are the measures, but then we can just focus on the problem alone and then we can work towards it. One is leveraging the security, and then the other one is installing some apps which can help us identify DDoS attack.
Okay.
sir,
Sir,
you told that denial of service is very difficult to prevent, and right now it is not possible to secure ourselves from the attack, right? In that slide, you told that.
I said denial of service attack is not. It is not. I mean, there is prevention and prediction. Say you cannot predict it. Who is doing it? You cannot predict it, but prevention you can do, but not easily. Okay, that's what I meant to say. If I have said you cannot prevent it, I'm sorry. You can. We can prevent it. Please correct it.
Because only from the known attackers we can prevent ourselves. If the attacker is new, we cannot block that IP.
You cannot block, but definitely you can figure it out where the attacker is. At least for the next communication, you can figure out and have to. You have to do some prevention measures. No, otherwise it will continue. Is it not?
Yes, sir.
so can we just create some kind of response measures, sir? Like if DDO, I mean, denial of service happens, respond in such a way that it never happens again. Something like that, sir.
There are some tools. See, basically, what is denial of service attack? Is any attack used to achieve the disruption of any service to a legitimate user. So for example, you are communicate with someone else. You both are legitimate users, and there is something which is made so that your service is disrupted. Okay, so how we can prevent it? The first thing, as you all said, we have to use adequate network security to block unnecessary network traffic. Okay, to block unnecessary network traffic, how will you block? You can use ACLs. Have you come across ACL, students access control list? Have you heard of it? Anyone?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. There is. I don't remember much about it, but then I heard it, sir. I had heard about it.
Access control list means it's a document. A list will be there in the document. The list will tell you which packets you have to accept and which packets you have to deny. Say, for example, I will write an access control list. Deny any packet from 192.168.10.0 network. Allow any packet from coming from Facebook. Deny any packet coming from YouTube. Like that, I can write lot of lines. Okay, so in a list, then I will place that list in my router. Okay, so when a packet coming into the router will check whether the packet has to be accepted or whether it has to be denied. Okay, based on that, you can only accept packets, or you can accept traffic only from a known source. That you can do. Is that clear? So actually, access control list will prevent many kinds of attacks. In that, denial of service also is one. Okay, and you have to arrange with your internet service provider to accept traffic from authorized source only. Okay, if not, you are not providing ACLs in your routers. You have to deal with the ISPs to accept traffic from authorized source only. Okay, so the other options is, uh, of course, you need to have backup and recovery arrangements. If there is any problem with your network, definitely you need to have backup and recovery arrangements for prevention from this attack. So these are some of the possible prevention measures for denial of service attack. Hope DOS attack is clear to you. Am I clear?
Sir, but
Yes,
what
sir.
will the attacker get by doing this, sir?
You see, it is just somebody it is not that any thing done by an attacker is willing to get something. Okay, it's just the attacker. See, by disrupting your communication, the attacker can gain many other things. By disrupting your communication, the attacker may the time which you are losing might be a gain for the attacker. Okay, say for example, if you are during the you see the share marketing things which happens every day, the trading happens every day. You have to be very quick. I mean, your selling and buying of stocks should be fast. Okay, there's something called as intraday trading, where you be keep on buying and selling your shares. If an attacker wants to slow down your process, which can help the attacker, in that case it is fine. No, the attacker will do it. Just an example I am giving.
Yes, sir.
Any question, student?
No, sir. I found the website, so it is so cool. I'm just putting it in the chat.
Next thing, TCP/IP hijacking. The next attack is TCP/IP hijacking. Just look at this, what it is, let me know, and find the prevention measures for this. TCP/IP hijacking. Just take 3-4 minutes to. Okay. Jivesh,
Yes, sir.
did you get time to find out what is TCP/IP hijacking?
Sir, what it is, I found out, sir, but preventive measures, I still didn't.
Okay, fine. Tell me what it is.
Sir, it is an attack where an authorized user gains access to the genuine network connections between other users. So what he can do is when he gains this access, he can read and modify the packets that are being transmitted through that network connection.
Okay. Yeah. Any other answers, students? You're
Did
right.
he say authorized user, sir, or unauthorized itself? I heard it like authorized, that's why.
No, it's an unauthorized user who will gain access.
Yes, sir, yes, sir, yes, sir.
Basically, see, it is also termed as session hijacking, students. You can make a note of it. TCP/IP hijacking is also termed as session hijacking. What happens here is a hacker will take over a TCP session. TCP session, in the sense, you have a connection between source and destination. You are communicating something in that session. Attacker will gain access to that connection, and whatever the data that you are transmitting will be viewed or can be modified by that attacker. Is that clear? So that kind of a attack is called as TCP/IP hijacking. Basically, that particular session will be hijacked by any attacker. Okay, how do you control it? Again, by using scanning tools. There are a lot of scanning tools to identify the vulnerability to hijacking attacks. Is that clear? There are specifically scanning tools available to identify vulnerability to hijacking attacks. So if you use those scanning tools, you will always figure out where is the vulnerability. Okay, and then the other option is you have to monitor the network traffic on ongoing basis. This is very important for many types of attacks. Monitoring the traffic on ongoing basis is very important. Okay, that means who is sending data to your network, which type of data is going out of your network, everything has to be monitored. There are again lot of monitoring tools available to monitor your network traffic, so you have to use that. So again, you have to install properly configured firewalls to at appropriate locations. Very important. Where you have a firewall, but where you are going to place it? Are you going to place it in your system, or you are going to place it in the border router? Everything matters. Okay, because when a attack or when a issue comes to your network, that may easily come to your system also. Okay, but if you don't allow any attacker to gain access to your network, then the attacker may not access your system. Okay, it depends where exactly you are placing your firewall. Okay, and apart from that, you have to you need to have adequate network security to have strong authentication technique, or for strong remote access. Yes, strong remote access also is very important. Okay, these things are some of the prevention measures for TCP/IP hijacking. Hope I am clear. Any questions, students? Hello?
Sir, is it the same as IP spoofing?
Yeah. See, basically what happens, uh, there are many attacks which you can, which the effects of it is similar, but somebody will be trying to access the IP, somebody will be trying to access the data, but almost similar. Yeah, you're right.
Okay, sir.
So the next type of attack is replay attack. Replay attack. Please make a note of it. Replay attack. So take time, and I will call a name. Okay. Okay. Sanjeev, Manasa Sanjeev, sorry, can you explain what is replay attack and how do you mitigate the attack? Am I audible, students?
Yes.
Yes.
Manasa?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
So a replay attack is basically when it's like a network attack when the transaction, the fraud transaction is continuously repeated.
Not exactly. I think you have got confused. Any other answers, student?
Sir, it is a network attack. Even though the intruder has cannot tamper with the data, and even though the message is confidential, he can delay the message or send the message how many ever times he wants. Like for example, if I say if there is a message like send me $10, even though the intruder cannot see that message, if he sends that message again, the receiver will receive it 2 times. So that is the problem with replay attack. We can also we can prevent this by adding a sequence number. So even the receiver can get verified that the message is sent only once.
Yeah, you are right.
Can I add on to what Pridarshan said, sir?
Sure.
Replaying is like when replay attack is when a third person, a third party intrudes. It's like packet spoofing, and then on behalf of the sender, either like sends the same packet to the receiver to confuse the party. It is like the lower version of man in the middle attack. And suppose if I want to convey through a example, suppose Bob wants Alice to prove her identity, and Alice sends a message following like the authentication protocols of salting, hashing, and stuff. And then a third person can intervene and then send the password back to the Bob. Like he can confuse her as if he himself is Alice. So that's what I think, sir. I haven't read yet about how to take measures against it.
Okay. So basically, as you both said, replay attack is a simple attack where an attacker will record the communication session between the client and server. Okay. I mean, the attacker will not have an access to read the data or tamper the data, but the attacker will record the communication session of data which is being transmitted, and later the attacker can reconnect to the server and play back that whatever the previous recorded client messages are there. Say for example, if a client is sending some request to a server, the attacker can record it and keep it with it, and later the attacker can play the same message to the server or send the same message to the server to get that information from the server. Is that clear? It's called as replay attack. So basically uh, how do you avoid it? We can use a nonce, a one-time unique number, or the connection ID, a sequence number for each record sent in the specific connection. Exactly. Whatever the data that you send, for each data that you send, you can have a specific number, a unique number. Suppose if the sender wants to send it again, the number should change. Okay. So that's how you can mitigate this attack. Am I clear? And that is what Priyadarshan also said.
Yes, sir. Sir, also there is one doubt. I think Jeevesh or something said about TCP/IP hijacking. I was saying that TCP/IP hijacking is when unauthorized user hijacks a network connection of another user, sir. Do you agree with it, sir?
Can you please repeat?
TCP/IP hijacking is when an unauthorized user hijacks a network connection of another user.
Yeah. That's right.
Also, there are statements like TCP/IP hijacking is when an authorized user gains access to a genuine network connection of another user.
That means the authorized user will become an unauthorized entry for that connection. No? Say, for example,
Okay.
I may be given access to a particular network, but if I misuse my connection, my access to listen to someone else's communication, that is again an unauthorized entry one.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you so much.
Sir, in this replay attack,
Mhm.
we told that say the client and server is there, A is the client, and then
Yeah.
A is asking for some information to the server, and
Yeah.
then B reads that, not reads, but stores that like query, and then again after some time it will send that query. But
Yeah.
then the server can get to know who is sending, no sir, like if they encrypt it using public and private keys, then it can get to know it's not A, but it's B who is asking, like the repudiation.
Yeah. If you are giving the repudiation for that connection, then it works. If you are not doing anything, if you have just encrypted your data and if you have just sent your data as ciphertext, then the whole ciphertext itself will be recorded and the same thing will be replied back, sent back to the server. In that case, it is a problem. If you are giving non-repudiation feature, then it is fine.
Okay, yes, sir.
Sir, how is repudiation coming into picture? That is when the source is denying that it did something, no, sir. That is when the server, no, that is when the client will be like, whether you did it or not, then the server will be like, if he doesn't, if the server does not agree, then he or like that server will be repudiating. Yes, no, sir.
No. See what happens. The question what Sahana asked is, um, uh, just a second, I got confused. Can you tell me what is repudiation?
Denying of some. I will Google out once. What I remember from T1 is source repudiation is when someone suppose claims that I did it or I did not do. Then the source will be like, no, I haven't done it. He simply denies the fact. That's when authentication comes into picture. Authentication ensures that the source cannot repudiate.
That's what Sahana said. You know, if the server asks you, it is not from you. Then if you are giving that feature, server can easily figure out that is not from the right person. That's what she said.
Yes, and then you were telling like since the whole session will be getting recorded and replayed, basically the source cannot repudiate, no, sir? That only, sir?
That's what. See, if the whole data, including the header and the payload part, if it is recorded and sent as it is to the server, what server will do? Server will just see from where it has come from, what is the request, and it will just respond. But that respond will go to this attacker. Is that clear? So if you have some option of checking again, like adding the nonce or a one-time unique number, in that case you can uh, uh, RC for non-repudiation also. There is some other there are some many other options, like uh, by giving the signature. In that case, the signature, if the signature doesn't match, that may also give a alarm to the server. So those things can be added. If those features are added,
I'm losing the track again. So client will be asking server whether he did or not. I'm just telling he for
not
the
client,
ease.
not client. Server will be asked.
No, sir, who wants what, sir? Like the someone, what I'm thinking is client will request server something and server will send something. If
Yes.
suppose the third person comes, then he will be recording the session and then will be replaying the replaying all the session back to the client. If the client happens to figure out that it is not server who sent, like I don't know how he will be able to do it,
No,
then
it is not server. It is not server. Just listen. The client and server are communicating. Okay. Someone in between will record all the client requests which are being sent to server.
what's a request, not
Yeah,
the response.
of the response. So it will just records all the requests. And whenever the attacker needs that responses, just attacker will send it again because it has the recorded request with it.
So generally it happens for requests only, no, sir? Like it keeps
Yes.
sending requests again and again.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. So if server wants, if server gets some doubt like why these requests are coming again and again, he can ask client, and that's where the reputation
Yes.
comes into
No,
picture.
to avoid, don't give an option for that. To avoid that, you can add a nonce or a one-time unique number, a connection ID, a sequence number, anything can be added for that particular session or connection.
Okay, so reply attack is a matter of past, sir. Like it's not happening right now.
It is happening. You can it will happen if you are not providing all these security features. So if generally
Okay.
nowadays every application comes with a basic security features, so reply attacks are nowadays very less.
Okay, sir.
Hope this confusion is clear.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you so much.
Okay, the next attack is buffer overflow. Buffer overflow. Take 2-3 minutes time, students. Yeah. Because am I audible? Because Reddy. Sriram.
Yes, sir. Buffer attack is like every networking device has like a buffer space. So the attacker can make use of it. Like he can try overflowing the buffer location. So whenever that location overflows, what happens is the adjacent memory location may get overwritten, and it becomes a problem when there is an executable program running in the adjacent location which can cause a crash. So in order to prevent it, uh, one thing that user can do is they can randomize the data allocation. That way, the user won't know the locality of the executable program. And another way is dividing, partitioning the memory into executable and non-executable regions. This way, the attacker can't malign the executable part of the memory location.
Okay. Any other answers, students?
Can I add to? Yes, I have something to say. Apart from the answer given by Sriram, we can focus on the languages, and also there are some libraries which prevents buffer overflow by giving the errors like segmentation fault. I forgot the names which I read, and yes, that only I wanted to say. Something else also I forgot.
My next question is, what you said is right. Buffer overflow, an attacker will basically add more information or writes more information into the buffer of any device, and the space allocated for a particular program will come down. What does attacker achieve from this? Any idea?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Actually, there will be there can be erroneous programs. Like there can be errors. Even the good code can be lost. Like the executable file code, we will be overwriting by buffer overflow, no, sir. So he can get access to the data by making the buffer overflow.
So basically, see, the attacker use this to override data that controls the program
Yes, sir.
execution path and hijack the control of the program to execute the attacker's code instead of the
Oh,
process code. Is that clear? I'll read it again.
yes, sir. Yes.
Attacker use this to overwrite the data that controls the program execution path and hijack control of the program to execute the attacker's code. So in that case, whatever the attacker wants to do with respect to that system will be achieved. Okay. So how do you prevent it? Do not execute any unknown program. As simple as that. Don't execute any unknown program, and basically disable unused ports. Is that clear? So when an attacker bombards lot of data into your buffer, from ports that has to come in. So if you are not using any port, you have to disable it. Is that clear? That is one way you can mitigate it. Am I clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay, students. Then we'll stop for the day. We'll continue in the next class. Okay. Hope you have at least
Yes, sir. Thank you.
noted all these points what we discussed today.
Yes, actually, this was more helpful. We were reading, and then whatever you were telling, we were able to make the best use of it. Like in classes, sometimes we'll be losing track and watching the recordings again, no, sir.
Yeah, yeah. Fine. I have some more attacks which we will discuss in the next class. Take care, student.
हाँ sir, thank you.
Thank you, sir.